Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, coming to you today with another episode of Spirituality and Me. And this episode is going to be all about creating and manifesting our dream relationship or our ideal partner. So we're going to talk about understanding how to transform any relationship that we are currently in into our ideal relationship, or if we are seeking our partner, how to identify and find our ideal person, our true love, our soulmate, however it may be seen. So an important thing to understand about this is I have control over myself and how I present myself into situations. I do not have control over situations and other people who are in those situations. So we just got to understand, in creating the ideal relationship, it is a partnership. There has to be an agreement. Like creating the ideal business relationship, we have to have a firm agreement where we understand each other's boundaries, and there's clear communication, and we clearly communicate our wants and desires in the external party and our wants and desires in the external situation, and then we come to an agreement upon that. And then it's a working agreement. So it's not we're in a divorce on either ends of the spectrum fighting at each other. It's that we're in a collaborative and cooperative agreement where we are two individuals who come together to experience and create a much broader or a much more deeper experience of life, over than just it's my way and I win some and you win some. It's a collaborative. So there has to be a willingness to cooperate. So within yourself, when trying to create the ideal relationship in an existing relationship, or trying to find the ideal partner, you have to have a very, very high willingness to cooperate, collaborate, to engage, communicate, and all of that. So we just got to think about it in terms of, if you think about friendships and some of the best friendships, it's because there's high levels of communication, collaboration, and all these different things. So we just got to understand that in a relationship, it's not about what you get out of it, it's what you give into it. And if both parties are giving into it and creating and working towards an ideal vision, well, it's going to move towards being the ideal partnership, because both will be highly satisfied and things like that. So it's just in understanding that when we do things alone, so my wants, desires and needs alone are part of the picture. But I don't know what I want to experience that I've never experienced before. So we've just got to understand that when we're cooperating and collaborating, it's not about we both anchor ourselves in our positions and then say, this is my position, this is your position, we're going to move from our positions. It's that we say, these are my strengths and weaknesses, these are your strengths and weaknesses. We come together, we create a whole, what were those transformer bots or whatever they were? But yeah, so basically we want to understand that in life, manifestation is about cooperation and collaboration. If I want to manifest my dream life, I have to get people to cooperate and collaborate with me so I can experience and live my dream life. So in context of manifesting an ideal partner, what we want to do, and this is all just activation of the brain. So if you think about it like this, part of our brain and the brain structure has been connected in a way and developed in a way that what its purpose is to identify what we want in life. So naturally its purpose is to remember and identify food sources, remember and identify water sources, shelter sources, things like that. So we've got to understand, if I'm hungry and I'm thinking about food, that aspect of my brain, the reticular activation gland or something like that, but basically that activates, and then in my periphery vision and my observable vision, my brain or my subconscious mind is sitting there and looking for identifying markers that indicate food sources. So have you ever noticed that when you're really hungry, it's really easy to find places that cook food. If you're walking through town, you see every one of them, because your subconscious mind is saying, I'm hungry, like there's food, there's food, there's food, there's food, there's food. So we got to understand, if I want, let's say, a partner who is kind, caring, sweet, all these different things, well, when I really, really think about it and think about it repetitively, I'm activating that reticular activation gland, okay? And it's like the hunger. When I'm hungry, that's the only thing on my mind, is food, 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 food. So what we want to do is we want to condition into our subconscious mind, we want to condition in the identifying markers that we are looking for in an ideal partner. That way, when we go into social engagements, or we're in situations, where we're meeting opposite sex or whatever, like, we're going to be noticing the ones that hold those indicators. So we'll notice the people who speak kindly to others. We'll notice the people, who are sweet to others, like whatever it may be. So it works on everything from, physical, like attributes and things like that, to personality traits, to, psychological structure, like how people are wired. Like, for example, some people are ultra high performers, and they want to be around someone who understands that and sort of drives into that, in terms of, they may want to work 12 hours a day, and they want someone who wants to work 12 hours a day, and that is moving towards it, so that there's not a clash between the cohesiveness of the relationship. For example, if you had someone who wanted to work 12 hours a day and someone who wanted to work 3 hours a day and spend the remaining day with the other one, like, it creates a bit of a clash. Not to say that it's, it doesn't work, but it depends on what you're looking for. So some people are looking for people that align exactly to their lifestyle and to their direction in life and their goals and, their values and how they do things. And other people want, someone who is different, that brings in an alternate perspective or an alternate viewpoint. So it's just about working out, like, all these different things that you want. Like, how do you want the interactions and conversations to be? How do you want the emotional connection to be? How do you want, their lifestyle to be? How do you want, and these are the things we focus on. And then what happens, okay, in manifestation, is that if I'm focused on these things and I'm presenting myself as the best version of myself, well, I'm probably only ever going to talk to people that hold these attributes. So it becomes much, much easier for me to then find my ideal partner, or, meet a lot of soulmates that are people who, you have sort of like a soul tie where you really enjoy similar things. For example, like, if you're a passionate surfer, like, you have a soul tie to every surfer, because it's sort of like, it's not only just an experience that you share, but it's sort of like a way of life, a way of being. So it's the same in spirituality, it's the same in religion. Like, if you're Christian and you meet someone who is also Christian, and you share the same beliefs, like, it creates a bit of a soul tie, because you have such a deep sort of like care for religion, Christianity, you know what I mean? So we just got to understand that these soulmates are just people that we share deep cares with. So, like, our deep desires and passions with. So this is why they become some of the best friends. You know what I mean? Where you have a best friend, and maybe you like rock climbing, and you just got one mate that you'll go every and anywhere together, because you're both in alignment to that. That is a very, pleasurable experience, but it's also something that we desire. So we both naturally move towards it. And this is what we're trying to replicate in a relationship, especially if we've got a relationship that doesn't kind of work and we're trying to turn it into the ideal relationship. Well, it starts with open and honest communication of we're trying to create and find that path together that aligns and goes towards the goal. And this is why, like, some of the best relationships that you'll ever see in, out in society are like, they look like working relationships where the people have just a mutual agreement and understanding that they've made towards each other and with each other. And regardless of which way the path goes, like, they always go together. And that's sort of like the ideal situation, because we don't want to be constantly trying to fight to diverge the path from where it's naturally going. Do you sort of understand what I mean? Like, we don't want to be fighting to always only do what we want to do, because then we're limiting the experiences that we have in life to only what we want to do. So, like, let's say, for example, I really, really liked fishing, and my ideal partner didn't like fishing and they wanted to do, let's say, shopping. Okay, and that was the be all and end all for them. Well, if I'm always trying to say, well, no, this is what I enjoy, I don't want to do that, and I create that level of lack of cohesion or cooperation, like, the problem is, even if that other party complies and follows, it's sort of like it's an uneven exchange in terms of, you know what I mean? If I'm always taking, no matter how good of a person I think I am, no matter this, that, and the other, like, if I'm always taking, then I'm a negative person in the context of I am taking someone from what they enjoy in life, just to do what I enjoy in life. So we just got to understand that in cooperative relationships, the importance is on having a dual focus between what I want in life and what they want in life. Because when we have that dual focus, we're able to compare in terms of the cost of it. You know what I mean? Maybe let's stay with the same context that today's an amazing day for fishing and there's a king tide on and I want to go after specific fish. Like, for example, and they want to go shopping because there's sales on. Like, you know what I mean? We can choose to do one or the other, or we can go our separate ways, or maybe I go that way for a bit and then go out after. Like, it's all about making cooperation key. So if cooperation is always the key focus, and this is why in the military training is so regimented around this, and why everything is about group training, is because they're trying to create these cooperative bonds and these, emotional connections to where the soldiers in each of the squads understands that individually I may be, at a certain level, but if I'm able to work cooperatively, I can't say that word now, but basically if I work together with the team, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to face more dynamic situations, but we're also going to be able to be more collaborative in our approach, i.e., in a squad, generally there are different variations of weapons types. Different weapons types allow for different combat engagements. So creating different, not scenarios, but creating different environments for the combat to take place in. So for example, if you've got high explosives, you're able to hit them at a short to medium range distance and do sort of impact damage where you're creating concussive force and concussive shock and shrapnel damage or shrapnel threat, which makes it more difficult for them to hold a dynamic defense. If you're always huddling down and hiding, you're unable to dynamically move and take advantage of the situation and take control of the situation. So just understanding this, that, you know, when we cooperate with others, we become better because others help us where we are weak. If we're trying to be in a relationship with another that we do not cooperate with, and we're limiting our cooperation but also actively working against them, well, that just creates an environment where, you know, we're not going to be moving in any cohesive fashion towards any kind of ideal version of our life or this relationship. So communication and agreement and cooperation are key to understanding and creating any relationship. When we have those understandings down pat and we have them locked in, what we're able to then do is then we're able to explore, we're able to test. So there's, you know, some couples that go out there and they do shared hobbies or couple hobbies to go and see what's fun, or to go and meet other couples. Do you sort of get it? Like, there's all these different things, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to do shared activity that create bonds. So if we're able to do that, then what that does is that strengthens and sort of aligns our willingness to negotiate and compromise. When we don't have strong connection or bonds, like, it's quite easy for me to say, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that. But if I've known you for 20 years and we've been best mates, well, I'm probably going to say, yeah, I'll do that, even if I don't want to do it. You know, like, think back to any time you've had to move or help someone move, and you're pretty much just there standing around half the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't go and offer to do that for some random. Like, you'd be like, fuck off, mate, I ain't doing that shit. But yeah, so in just understanding this, what we're able to do is, now, if I'm able to train my brain to identify potential candidates that are, you know, my ideal of, you know, my love or my ideal relationship or my ideal partner, okay, now we understand that, well, you know, if I'm able to communicate and gain, you know, some form of cooperation and, you know, agreement, well then that's the start of the foundation. But what we've got to understand, and what's really big for me to understand, is that, like, while we can manifest and identify ideal partners all we want, we also have to be highly aware and observant of our behaviors. So, for example, we have to be looking at our behaviors and identifying any insecurities, limiting beliefs, you know, any negative behavioral patterns or anything like that that we've picked up from past experiences, because they're going to be what causes failure in the situation. So we can manifest all the greatest partners in the world, but if we every time we get the ball we fumble it, like, no stress. You know what I mean? What's the point of manifesting if we're just going to fumble it? So at a certain point we've got to get our grip strength good, so that when the ball's passed to us we can grab it, and then we've got to know we can run with it. So in understanding this is just understanding becoming secure within yourself. So, you know, in a relationship, well, when we're moving into our ideal partner, we got to think about, like, I'm visualizing my ideal partner and all the attributes and all that, and now we got to visualize, well, who would I be if I was with that person? How would I act? How would I talk? You know, how would I behave? How would I treat them? Like, what would I do? You know, like, who would I be in that situation? And then that is our marker for who we are presenting to, you know, the other parties. So, you know, we work on ourselves. Are we someone who's insecure? Are we someone who's jealous? Are we someone who's, you know, a gaslighter? Are we this? Are we that? Like, are we manipulative? Like, all these other things. And we identify any negative behaviors that we have that don't align to that vision of ourself, that who we want to be, and we cut them out. And now we are